Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do One Piece chapter 1086 review. Let's get into it. We open up the chapter with the aftermath of the reverie, and we see how Vivi and Sabo end up getting away. And it's hilarious how Vivi's like, yo, what did you see, Wapol? And Wapol is way too scared to tell Vivi anything. Like, I'm just imagining myself as Wapol. I would be just as scared, honestly. We also got a flashback of what happened right before Lulusia Kingdom was destroyed. And as Imu stated, let's put Vegapunk's invention to the test. Use the Mother Flame. So it turns out that this is actually one of Vegapunk's inventions, and it must be some kind of aerial vehicle that can shoot lasers to the ground and destroy objects beneath it. I'm almost imagining this thing like a giant flying saucer. And this was the thing that shot 16 beams down from the heavens and destroyed Lulusia Kingdom like it never existed. And it's questionable how Dragon doesn't believe that Vegapunk created this weapon, and even Ivankov knew that Vegapunk was the only one who could make this. And finally, we get all the names of the Gorosei. So we have Saint Shepherd Jupiter, or Peter, who is the agricultural warrior god. And we have the Gandhi looking dude, and his name is Saint Ethan Baron V. Nazjuro, and he is the finance warrior god. Then we have Saint Topman Valkyrie, and he is the justice warrior god. Next we got Saint Marcus Mars, who is the environmental warrior god. And lastly we have Saint J. Garcia Saturn, and he is the science warrior god. So it's actually cool how each of the Gorosei have their own area of expertise, and it also clarifies why Saturn was sent to check on Egghead Island instead of the other Gorosei members. And as far as the solar system model goes, as a lot of people predicted, it doesn't look like all of their names line up with different planets. The only additional planet we got was Mars, and sadly we didn't get any more clarification on the Gorosei's powers, but I think they're actually very strong, and we have been underestimating them the entire time. We then see the continued chaos of the disbanding of the warlord system, in addition to the uprisings that are going on throughout the world. And in response to this, the world government finally deploys the Seraphim, and looks like they deployed the evil ones this time, as they doployed Crocodile, Moria, and Doflamingo. And my only question here is, why is Doflamingo wearing his glasses still? I get it, it's character design and he needs his glasses to be Doflamingo, but why does he need them since he's a kid in this instance? And second, why does Crocodile have his scar still? When we saw the sketch of Crocodile as a kid, he didn't have a scar then, but the Seraphim version has the scar, so I wonder why Oda decided to do this. After the flashback, we get to hear more from Sabo about what happened to Lulusia Kingdom, and Ivankov actually remembers the name Imu as one of the first 20 sovereigns, and this person's name was Saint Imu of the House of Nerona. And something interesting about the name is that Nerona means beautiful, and this is even more interesting as Nefertari also means beautiful. So the connections between Vivi and Imu just continue to greaten, and Ivankov even brings up the fact that eternal youth exists, and there is a person in the world that doesn't worry about death. So it is very possible that Imu is the same person from 800 years ago that has survived this entire time. And so if it's impossible to kill Imu, someone needs to be swapped into Imu's body. And again, this leads back to my theory of Vivi becoming the ruler of the world. Let's first start off with the connections between Imu and Brahma. Brahma is the supreme creator. He is the source of this world and the prime mover. And as Mars stated earlier in the chapter, the world moves at the will of the creator. Thus, Imu is the creator of this world. And now let's get into the connection between Brahma and Vivi, as it's been said that Brahma rides a pristine white swan. Now look at Brahma riding a swan. Now look at Vivi and Karu. And tell me that Oda did not plan this from the start. Oda set up this connection between Imu and Vivi for a reason. And I think if in the endgame they actually execute Doflamingo's plan of using personality switching to switch someone into Imu's body, I think Vivi is the obvious choice to be switched in. But continuing with the chapter, we see that a celestial dragon has been sentenced to death. And the judge was the former king of the land known as God Valley. His name is Saint Figarland Garling, who potentially could be related to Shanks, as he is a part of the Figarland family. And Garling currently serves as the supreme commander of God's Knights. So from the previous silhouettes of God's Knights, it's clear that Garling isn't the one in the center, and that there must be still another member of God's Knights that looks kind of like Shanks. So there's been a lot of speculation that potentially maybe Garling's grandson could be that figure and could be Shanks' brother. And this adds to the theory that Shanks was formerly a celestial dragon, as he was found by Roger at God Valley itself. And we all remember this panel between Whitebeard and Shanks where Whitebeard states that his scar aches when he looks at Shanks. So it must be because one of Shanks' family members is in God's Knights, and that knight is the one that scarred Whitebeard. So I think these God's Knights are nothing to be messed with. And it was actually really sad to see that Mosgard was the one to be executed. And we get a wild final quote from Garling: anyone who protects scum is lower than the scum they protect. Like, that is an extreme form of justice right there. I honestly love Garling's design, as his hair is literally set up like a crescent moon, furthering the space theme of the celestial dragons. And yet again, he's a swordsman, so I feel like there definitely must be a connection between him and Shanks. Shanks. And I also found it interesting that he is the only one who can actually judge the celestial dragons, as the celestial dragons themselves cannot pass judgment between each other. But it looks like Garling can make whatever decision that he sees fit. Overall, I thought this chapter was absolutely epic, but I did feel that some of the flashback was unnecessary, as we already kind of knew what happened there. Let me know what you guys thought of this chapter down below, and I'll talk to you guys later. Deuces.